There you go.
The new friendships here. So
yes, buddy.
Perfect.
I like
Perfect.
you already, man.
yeah.
Yo, Kyle's one of the greatest. He's been a long-time friend for a long time. The conversations this man and me used
He's
to
been
have
a
in the
long-time
fridge.
friend for a long time.
The
He's a
conversations
long-time
me
friend
and
for
him
a short time.
used to have in the fridge every morning.
We go back long.
Blow your
long
fucking
time.
minds, let me tell you. All right.
Well,
Okay,
welcome,
Marcus,
Kyle. Welcome,
you.
Kyle,
bring us in.
Yeah.
to an episode of Assholes with Opinions. I'm
Yep.
one of your hosts, Marcus Merker, and my co-host, Dylan, Sab.
Big Dubbz, follow me on Twitter, Sab Powers. Just watch his YouTube, /Sab Powers. Don't watch it, just listen. Give him those watch hours.
Put it on in the
Yeah,
background.
Put it on in the background, motherfuckers. And we got
Yeah.
a dope-ass motherfucking guest, a longtime friend of mine, my homie.
Yeah.
I hope y'all fucking love him as much as I do. Kyle Marinucci.
see.
This
We'll
this man caught the ban hammer on Facebook and Instagram. No warnings, no nothing. They just shut his account down. They disabled him. They told him, fuck you. Your thoughts aren't worth our time on Facebook. You're challenging the status quo. You know too much. And they silenced this motherfucker. They silenced him. So we're here to get his voice back out to the public. Kyle, bring us in with what you have brought to the table and what got you banned from the interwebs of Zuckerberg's fucking echo chamber.
Well, first, this isn't about convincing anybody. Anyone's listening. It's not about
bro. That's
convincing
why it's called
anybody.
Assholes with Opinions.
Yeah.
You know exactly,
So
right?
any people listening, it's just different perspectives.
You
But
almost have to say that every time now, too. It sucks. that you have to say that.
I know.
Disclaimer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
So it's like one of those things where they're saying now, well, I don't agree with everything. There are some things I agree. Like, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
It's
But
not-
you
you
almost
don't have
have
to tell
to.
people.
You almost have to.
Yeah, but nowadays you
So-
almost have to. Back in the day, you could have just been like, yeah, I'm with this guy. I know he did all these things. I don't agree with those, obviously, but these other policies and whatever the topic may be. But you always just have to say, I'm just saying. These aren't facts. I'm just saying, because these warriors will just tear you down. And we did a whole thing on cancel culture before, right? And you know all about that firsthand, basically.
Yeah. So what really sealed my understanding now, and that something really is going on, is I was at work and I was on my lunch break and I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, right? And I was never really on it until quarantine.
Yep.
All right. When quarantine hit in March, I think it was 17th,
Yep.
15th, somewhere in there. I was never really on Facebook. So all of a sudden you get people sharing everything and different insights about the COVID and the different, where is it coming from? Wuhan? Is it, is it
a bad virus? Is it man-made?
Is it bad? Is it even real? So as I started getting more and more and more, all of a sudden I start understanding, start seeing, start sharing. And so I was at work. This is a week and a half ago now, about a week ago. And what happened was I'm sitting and I'm scrolling through the feed, right? Looking at everything. And I'm not posting a thing. I'm not posting anything. Nothing. And no hashtags, no pic, like just there's some scrolling. And all of a sudden I found what it was a pedophilia picture. And what it was, TED Talk.
Yep.
TED Talks. So what it was a picture of a man and a boy holding hands. And it was one of TED Talks, like newer documentaries, I think it was, or a discussion they had which is an ongoing discussion, that pedophilia is actually a form of sexual orientation and not a sexual a sexual deviation.
Yes.
To me, it's like it's the most like evil thing. Like I can't think of something more evil and more fucked up than pedophilia.
Well, you're screwing.
To try to justify that is like disgusting to me. It's like what the fuck, man? That's so
yeah.
Well,
because you're screwing something up at the seed.
I like TED Talks, so to
now.
hear that they're doing that, is that real? Like
I'll touch on that for a second because I did read on it. The reason why they did have this TED Talk and the reason why they're trying to put it into these categories is because they're trying to figure out how to deal with it. They need to label it as something in order to deal with it. But what you said is correct. Why it's a sexual preference and not a deviancy is is bewildering to me.
And you know what? Like they're trying to put it, but they're trying to put it in the same category as being gay or being trans.
The head of the LGBTQ movement is one of the prime minister or presidents of NAMBLA, the North American Man Boy Lovers Association.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it like almost remove the taboo, and just make it commonplace. Which is another thing I had a thought earlier today when it came to how Pornhub has all those like weird fucking stepsister, stepbrother, all that bullshit, stepmom.
And that's another.
And it's like desensitization to almost make it seem like, oh, whatever, it's normal, right?
They're getting exactly.
Yeah, to remove the taboo.
Exactly. And it's almost allowing it's moral. It's what it is. It's moralizing. So it's making it okay. The incest.
Yes, it's desensitizing. You see it all the time to the point where you don't bat an eye at it anymore.
Exactly.
At first, you were like, "Oh, whoa, what's this crazy shit?" And now it's like you see it all the fucking time. And now, even like you were saying, with the TED Talk and the LGBTQ trying to add that as one of their things, the pedophilia taking the gay pride flag and just switching the colors to a pastel base. It's. Oh, it's
okay.
Crazy.
So I don't live in like a mixed family like that where it's like I don't have any step siblings, but I don't think it's cool to fuck your stepsister. Like, is it? Is anyone out there like? What do you guys think? Would you fuck your stepsister? You guys aren't blood related.
I don't think so neither. But
obviously, there's a niche market out there. Like, you know what I mean? It's weird.
I think what it is.
Yeah, of course. I think the reality is if they're not blood, then it's obviously more weird. If it's a married-in stepsister situation, the California, two rich parents, blah blah, whatever. I'm not.
That's still your sister, though. You know what I mean? Like even if let's say it's your adopted sister. If it's your adopted sister, like that's the same as your stepsister in a sense. No, you guys aren't blood related. You know what I mean? Like. Don't fuck your adopted sister either.
I'm thinking,
I didn't. I didn't look at it like the adopted part. Actually, I always looked at it like two families, like two different families, like a dad that has a 50 or not 15 but 18-year-old kid.
Well, generalization, right? Like mom and dad both have a 15-year-old kid. They get together.
And they get together. They're from two different cities. They have no relation besides the mom and the dad. Right, they're not related as far as like blood goes, right? Like that's her kid, that's his kid.
That's factual, right?
That's like in that situation, I think there's been a lot of cases in the United States where like those two people end up getting together. I don't think that's right, but in my opinion, because they're together, but they're not blood, so I can understand. I can understand that in that situation, and
this
at that point,
huge,
they're not blood.
Obviously, off of what Kyle was saying, basically back to.
Well,
sorry for driving that astray.
No, it's not too. I was going to come back. I didn't forget.
I know you're prepared.
It was the first question. We already went on this huge rant. It wasn't you. It was me. I think I'm the one who fucking started the whole.
Threw a wrench in the gear. But I actually wanted to start by saying that I didn't write nothing down. This is all just. As if we're having a conversation back in the
perfect. That's great. That's what we want. We didn't write anything down either.
Regurgitating information.
Obviously.
Right? I didn't know what we were talking about until we started. So you know what I mean?
So I found, and it wasn't even my picture. It was a screenshot of someone else's.
Okay, so you screenshotted this child porn picture and reposted it.
Right.
Okay, and that's why you got banned.
And this was somebody else's post. This was somebody else's post who had circled the bottom, complaining about it, saying that this went against the community standards of Facebook.
That makes more sense. I get it.
But Facebook had replied to this person.
It did not. Yeah.
It said it did not. It said that it doesn't go against the standards. So I posted that and sent it. Right. About maybe, I would say probably not even a minute later. All of a sudden, my phone goes black. My phone goes black. It logs me out, and it kind of like as if I restarted it, but quicker.
But you had Facebook open, right?
Yeah, Facebook. I was scrolling.
Okay. Yeah.
And
just wanted to clarify.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the hell? So I click on the Facebook, like the app, I click on it, and I have to re-log in. Like, oh, maybe something just happened, like, whatever, right? So I click in, putting in my email, my password, and all of a sudden it brings me to my page saying that you have been permanently disabled. So I'm like, what the hell? So I immediately messaged my wife here, and I said, I think they banned me. I don't know what's going on. She's losing it on the other end, right? She was at work too at the time, so there's not much anybody can do. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm hacked. Maybe this is what happened. I'm hacked now, and I got to complain. About a minute later after that, I get an email from Facebook, right? And so that's how you know it's legitimate, that it came from the Facebook, right? It said, on behalf of from our Facebook team, on behalf of the whole Facebook community, we have deemed that you are no longer eligible for Facebook use.
That's whack.
That's pretty much verbatim what it said.
Yeah.
Okay, so you took a screenshot of this pedophilia picture and reposted it.
Yeah. So it wasn't mine.
So it was a dad and an adult and a kid holding hands. What was it exactly again? But they weren't naked or anything. It wasn't a dad and a kid. Hands. So how is that pedophilia? What was going on there?
Because what it was.
It was actually a pro pedophilia poster.
Yes,
and then underneath it there was.
How are there people that are pro pedophilia? Like, that's so strange.
Bro, there's people out there because they're trying to argue their fact that that is a sexual preference and that they were born to feel that way.
Not that,
and they're fighting for like the
okay,
rights
but
like the way that a man feels like just a woman in a like. So
okay, I get that. I get what you're trying to say.
So now they're just saying that. The same it applies to a grown man who feels like a child in a kid's body.
Right. But do they not you gotta look at it from the kid's point of view, right? Like, do they not understand that the
kids aren't getting much choice?
It's so fucked up to do.
The kid has no choice in this. They're arguing about grown people feeling
even if the kid says that they want to, that still doesn't mean that that's okay.
Well,
it's never okay.
Said.
Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even if a kid is like, I want to let you suck my dick or whatever, because for some reason, like, guys like sucking little kids' dicks, and then like that's still not okay. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Because as the older person, as the person in power, you have more responsibility. And like these children, like, so like even if you can argue that for some reason that's a sexual preference or whatever that you have to overcome, because like that's so fucked up, you know what I mean? Like,
the problem
no matter what it is, you can classify it however the fuck you want. It's not okay. You know, fucking with kids in any form is not okay. But they're like the fucking like okay, sorry,
the problem is where they're getting away with it, Sab, is that they're not saying that it's okay, because like like they say,
they just want to be accepted.
They're being political about it.
The devil is in the detail here, right? So they're not saying that pedophilia is okay, because if I want to go out and have a relation with a kid, that's not okay.
Obviously, yeah.
But if somebody has a mental problem where that's where they gravitate towards, well, then that's okay. You understand?
But that's not okay. That needs
no. We know that's not okay. But
and that can be changed.
Yes.
You can change anything, right?
Back to the point. That's what the post was. Underneath that post was someone who said they complained about it, and then Facebook replied and said this does not go against our guidelines, and allowed that post.
Yeah, and then you screenshotted that and posted it on your own thing, and then that's so ironic, right? Of course, they would take down yours and not the original thing.
So
which is so fucking shitty of Facebook of doing that. That sucks, but they're a business and they can do whatever they want.
The problem is with that whole argument saying that it's a private business and that they can do what they want. Yeah, you're right. But the thing is that when you are a monopoly and you are one of the main outlets for information, there is a sense of responsibility, right? There is a sense of responsibility.
Just like with old people with kids, man. Exactly. There's a responsibility.
Yeah. So the thing, like, where you have on Facebook, Instagram, almost every single
a big one is YouTube. I feel like YouTube has
probably
a crazy one. Yeah.
You have underage girls half naked. You have animal violence. You have
you got
violence against others, and they're not getting taken down.
You have straight up porn. like I was doing this Tom thing, right? Where
but
there was
as long as you're 18, right? As long as you're 18, you can verify your age. That's okay.
Oh yeah, bro. What you're under 14? What do you do? Click yes. Like how?
That's it.
Who's that stopping, right?
That's exactly.
And
so that's
as a child, that's more tempting. You're like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here.
Exactly.
I can get it.
Now
here.
they don't allow comments on videos with kids on
like
YouTube.
me. That's where people like us have to discuss and say that it's irresponsible for them to allow it, no matter your age. Shouldn't be there.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like we have to protect the kids, obviously, and it's like,
well, and we're gonna get to that because that's exactly where this is going. That's exactly where this whole thing is going. It's
a conversation nobody's having, and it's crazy that nobody's having this conversation. Yeah. Everybody just wants to talk about what's happening in the media. Will Smith, his NBA coming back, UFC's on. Nobody wants to talk about the fucking millions of children a year that go missing, and the giant trafficking system going on that has been exposed between Epstein, Ghislaine, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are just the ones we know.
Those are not. That's
the
not
devil
even,
you know is better than the devil you don't. You know what I mean? Like the people that we don't know about are doing way more crazier shit than the people that are being in the media that are that are still being covered up.
What if it's wild? What if it's like the whole the way the cartel they get caught on purpose at like a Texas airport with
you're a fall guy. You're a fall guy.
That's all it is.
So they get 50,000 over here, right?
You did your bit. You got what you wanted. Yeah. You've lived your life this amount. Guess what?
Epstein
you got to do some time now for us. I'm sorry.
That is the way. He's right. That is the way they work. So they're called patsies.
Yeah. Fall guys.
They're
Epstein
just kind
of
of
whatever you want. Joke in this whole thing. He's probably just a joke, and he probably was like, you know what? I'm kind of sick of this, and they're like, all right, you're done. Like.
Well, the reason why Epstein is such an important character is because he has proof.
Oh,
he has his
that was the thing. He was
transactions.
Ready. He was ready, and now the whole Deutsche Bank thing going on with the judge. Oh, like that's another whole fucking crazy sidewinder. Let's not get off into that for a minute, but he has transaction records. He has things that can bury people. Ghislaine has a kill switch,
and not exactly, and not that it's not that like he has tangible proof that you can hold in your hands. So it is not something that's kind of hearsay that is making up. I have proof. I have transaction proof, bank proofs with names.
Why do you say like he has? Like he's dead. Because we're talking about Epstein, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you should be saying he had. Yeah.
Okay. So the second basically in command, which actually people are now saying that she is more important, is Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, they're saying she was his boss now.
They're saying that she was the actual ringleader and not him. She was the brains behind it. Well, she comes from a wealthy family. I believe her father was.
He was a military commander of some sort. They owned submarine companies off of the coast of the Virgin Islands and shit. It's crazy, man. They come from a very wealthy family. Ghislaine herself.
So, and the thing is the reason why it's not being covered is because these news stations, especially CNN, you got to remember, they're on the payroll of the elite, right? They're on the payroll of the major families.
Bro, there's 3 media outlets and 2 of them are controlled by the same, you know?
Right.
Yeah. The only one that I've noticed and my wife Maria has noticed is that Fox is finally starting to come out and talking against all of it. I don't know if you guys keep up with that at all.
I haven't because mainstream media has disproved me so long that I've turned to alternative sources of media, right?
There's just so much shit. It's impossible to keep up with.
Fox News, there's Tucker Carlson,
who
was actually the reason why me and her got into him was David Icke. You know who David Icke?
Lizard people.
Yeah.
I know who David
Icke. That's all you need to know. David Icke, lizard people. That's
Pink
it.
Guy made a song about him.
He's the one who came out and said, "Watch Tucker. He's one of the good ones coming out." So we did, and now he's talking about everything.
Yep.
Everything.
He's not afraid to challenge anybody, bro. He'll sit there and just fucking call you out on all your stuff.
He actually went down in history the other day. He actually went down in history, Tucker Carlson, for the most viewed. What do you call that? An news anchor. in television history, not in Fox history or any television history, with 4.4 million views at one time. That has never happened.
Well, okay, so
that's why he's important.
Hey, Marcus.
Okay, my whole thing about the whole Fox and news thing is that I personally think that Tucker Carlson's an idiot. Like, I think that some of his interviews are completely set up to make him look good. Now, I'm not disagreeing. Like, I've made it very clear that if I was voting in the United States, I'd vote for Trump's administration. That's based on the Republican Party. And I understand that Fox is based off them. But my opinion of Tucker Carlson specifically is he came out last week and said CNN got sued about that kid last year, a Trump supporter or whatever. They besmirched his name. They besmirched his name or whatever, and they settled on that. And he talked about that. But at the same time, he was exposing that. There was 2 women that came out from Fox saying that Tucker sexually assaulted them. So if we're talking about somebody who's super powerful in media, we have to understand something. Tucker's so powerful in media that why wouldn't he also be part of all this bullshit? And as much as I agree that Fox News has been on probably the right side of media recently, it's just like the prime minister race. It's just like the presidential race. We're wasting our time because you can't shine a turd. All media is shitting the bed, period. Now, that interview with Trump from Fox was unbelievable. But then if you watch the interview with, Fox made an interview with Trump, made him look like a dumbass. That's what everyone came out and said, right? Even Fox. Then you watch the Barstool Sports interview, for example, with the president and with Trump. And Trump just looks like a normal guy, like a guy that you can actually sit down and have a good conversation with because he's normal. Yeah. Do you see my point? So I'm not I'm not.
Well, yeah,
Trump's
all media is basically
too.
biased to their side, right? They have to play their part, which sucks because that stunts your investigative journalism, because no matter what you want to report on, you can't report on yours. You have to report on bias, right?
So as much as I think Tucker's an idiot, it's the same concept as Trump. I think Trump's a dumbass. I do. I think him personally, I think he talks like an idiot sometimes. Do I think that he can be do I think he's a human being? Do I think he acts like a human being? Yes. Do you know what I mean? Is he political? Some of his answers in the Barstool interview? Yes, he is. But same thing with Tucker. Some of his interviews are completely so right wing. It's extreme right wing that it's hard to follow with him, right? And then some of them, he's good. He's on the money. You're right. He smacks the shit out of people. He's not scared to say things. I think another person I appreciate is someone who's more centered, if anything, left center, is Trevor Noah, right? I think he's more unbiased about the way he attacks politics, right? So if we're going to talk about Tucker's kind of an asshole is what I'm trying to say.
I see your point. I see your point. I think maybe he can come off as being arrogant, but Trump,
right?
I don't think. I think the reason why people think he talks like an idiot is because he doesn't talk like a politician. He just talks like a person, like somebody you'd meet off the street. I think that's the reason why people think he's an idiot. But you're talking to one of you're talking one of the most. You're talking to the most successful businessman on the planet who has talked to people who don't even speak English and been able to make deals with him. I don't really think he's an idiot. I think maybe he comes off as an idiot because he doesn't talk like Obama, very charismatic and kind of charming. Right. You know what I mean? And Trump's got no charm. Trump doesn't have charm.
Zero charm.
No charm. But the thing is, I think the time for charm and finesse is gone. We don't need a silver spoon. We don't need a sledgehammer.
Show. Yeah.
We need a sledgehammer now.
I think that's
honestly
fair.
I think Trump is fucking retarded, you guys. I don't know why you guys are riding his dick.
He's not I think Trump this is my problem. When you're the president of the United States, why are you wasting your time on a guy kneeling in the NFL? That's 1 year in your not a couple of months in your presidency.
Well,
and you're talking about
back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Kyle, are you still banned from Facebook, bro?
Yeah, I'm banned completely.
Why?
So usually what would happen is how Facebook, they give you a warning. They say you can have 24, 48 suspension or hours. or weeks or months sometimes, right? And I've never seen it. I'd never got any warning. I never got anything. I never got a warning of any kind. Never, nothing. The only time I got one warning was when somebody had complained about me. Now, I had saw it because my wife showed me on one of the comments. A girl, I can't remember her name, but not that I'd say it anyway. She complained to Facebook saying that I was violating the community standards, and Facebook quickly reviewed it within a couple hours and got back to her and said, no, it's fine. He's not violating anything. Mm-hmm. So I would have expected a warning, or at least okay, you know what, you got 24 hours. Don't do it again. But I didn't get anything, and I'm still banned.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just like an immediate ban.
So try and understand like where I know it is really, really hard to get this. Every single memory I've ever had was on there.
No, dude, I understand because I don't even have a phone, bro. I use Facebook to if they banned me, I'd be fucked. Weber wouldn't even be able to contact me. He'd have to come to my house.
You know, what I mean? My high school,
my house
old school.
And
my high school pictures, like my competitions, family gatherings, dinners, all of it is gone. Everything is gone.
Did they delete it forever though? They'll let you.
Well, they probably have it somewhere.
Yeah,
but I don't have it. I don't have it.
It's not like Weber's phone in the river.
So when my wife wants to, so when my wife wants to tag me, she can't. I'm still in her pictures, like my picture is still there.
Yeah,
but I'm just like a ghost.
The craziest thing was when Jesus messaged me and he was like, "Where's Kyle?" I was gonna message him and see when he's working. I want to come for dinner, and I was like, "What do you mean?" So I check my inbox, and I look up your name. Nothing comes up. So I scroll down to our last conversation. I click on it, and it's all one-sided. It's just me. Your whole conversation is fucking gone.
That's wild, bro.
Like, it is wild. I don't have any messages from you anymore. I have nothing. No links. No. The whole thing is gone. It's just all my messages. And that's which is wild. I've never seen that. Usually it says like Facebook user and it'll have the messages.
Yeah.
But yours is just a profile picture, doesn't say Facebook user, doesn't even say your name. It's just a blank thing and it's just me talking to myself.
It's a complete it's very hard to it's like at first I wasn't pissed at all. At first I was like, oh, I guess that's kind of cool. They noticed me kind of thing. And all of a sudden, I start making an alias for a second Facebook thing, and I can't use my phone anymore for it. I have to go on the computer. My phone, it won't let me. It won't let me use my phone for Facebook for some reason. Yeah. Whoa, I can't explain it.
Bro, that's even crazier.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I have no understanding. They might know my
IP address, perhaps,
I don't know how it works. I'm not very computer savvy like she is, but I can't even use my phone to download the app anymore.
You're definitely gonna need like a VPN or something to decode your fucking IP address for sure.
I want to say something quick. I think that like everything on Facebook and shit will eventually become public domain, and
I think it already
if you want to no, but I mean like. If someone's like in like 50 years or like 100 years and someone's like, oh, I want to search up what my great-grandfather was saying on Facebook. And you can see all their private messages.
All their inboxes.
All like the fucking, all the flings and all the like the embarrassing being drunk and messaging people. And like, you know
how you get the history where it's like, oh, this like 6 years ago on this day you said this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, I look at it now, it's like it's embarrassing.
But they're gonna be when we're all dead, they're gonna be like, oh, they're dead, we don't care, and they'll release all the information. I feel like, and all our grandkids and shit are all just gonna be able to like see whatever the fuck we were up to.
It's gonna be bad.
So yeah, I didn't really start. I started really getting into all this during I was always into it, but I started really posting it during the quarantine, which is interesting because I think that's what happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's why I started my podcast and shit. That's why this
exactly
started,
you know, So you have conversations, you have research, which almost backfired on this agenda. Because now you have, you would almost like, because we were talking about all the time, like if you want to distract people, the last thing you want to do is give them more time on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a good point. That's a really good point.
So
going to a shitty ass job every day is a distraction.
There's so and this is one thing I don't understand, and maybe you guys will know, is so because I'm hearing that this coronavirus was made obviously for control, to push vaccines in. And you guys have obviously know about that.
Why is that obvious to me though? Like that seems so strange. Like the whole
because
world
the thing is,
down.
Well,
it's
because
like such a weird, fucked up thing. Like you think the whole world. Okay, so the rich people are in on this conspiracy, right? It's instantly what you're saying is the whole world is conspiring together. All the governments, because every government shut down because of coronavirus.
No, not every government. Not every.
What government shouldn't shut down?
Aren't shutting down
or didn't or
no what I'm saying is not every government is in on this plan.
So then why did they shut down if they're not in on the plan?
Well, because you got to remember something, that there's a lot of fear. No one really knows
enough fear to affect governments.
Absolutely.
Just shutting down.
Absolutely. If Boris Johnson in England, the UK, he was saying that no, we're not shutting down, we're keeping schools open, we're not shutting down nothing. And then all of a sudden he had people come up to him saying, listen, you could have all these bodies on your hands if you don't shut down. It took him, he was you could say threatened.
Okay, so what's the point?
No,
Let's get to the point. I want to know what the point is.
Because politicians look at it, it's a fear thing, right? So they're like, if these people die on my hands, I'm not getting reelected. Exactly. I get a bad rep, I did nothing to help. Well, all these people. So let's say I want to do something and I want to convince you to do it, and we're all three of us are going to do the same thing. And you're going to be like, why are they doing that? We're going to be like, yo, bro, this thing's crazy. It's infecting all of us. You should shut down. If bodies die on your hands, it's going to be your fault. You didn't act. And you're going to be like, oh, fuck, I need to react to this.
Okay.
Yeah. And people, one sec, sorry. And people will expect your reaction.
Especially if the public people are afraid. Information, right? Now it's on you, and you put pressure on them by having their underlings put pressure. So you got pressure coming from both sides.
Okay, let's say you're right. Let's say all that is true. What's the point? Like, what is the goal here? Like, and who is doing it? Like, is it China that releases to take over the world?
Let's just say, like, hypothetically, theory that you're pushing? Let's say hypothetically China released the virus and they knew how to stop it first. Like, I have a question. I asked my buddy the other day, and I think I asked Weber this too. Why is it that, like, we make deadly diseases that could kill millions of people? Why is it that we fund that? Like, that doesn't make sense. Why
is that what's happening?
Vaccines we have biotech labs that are producing.
We got to remember something. You got to remember vaccines. You are a normal human being. You got to understand that you are a caring person. These guys aren't. They don't think like us. They're not part of the same.
But what's the end goal? Like, what is the end goal?
Well, that's kind of where I'm getting at.
They are completely lacking empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So you are asking.
Yeah.
So to take over the world, is it that simple?
Would probably be the goal. Yeah.
Well, empathy. Well, I'll get to the end goal. Empathy is caring for somebody else. I'm not going to do this because it could affect somebody else and whatever. Right? These people, they don't think like that. They're not the same. They're almost not even people anymore.
Right.
So the thing is that when they have, to go back way in the beginning, before the end goal, okay?
Wait, do the end goal, bro. We need to know the end goal.
Yo, let the hype build.
So during 2016, Trump was already going to lose. They thought he was going to lose.
Oh yeah,
right. And if you remember, and if you guys remember that, the early polls were coming out saying that, okay, Trump is getting annihilated by Hillary. The polls are saying Hillary, blah, 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 right? And you even have people like, what's his name? Those talks like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel right? You had them saying, "Give up, it's stupid." Yeah, the joke's over.
No, do you know why I knew Trump was gonna win? It's like, okay, it's fucked up to say this, but like the states just had a black president and they weren't ready to like go another. They wanted to go back the other way. Like they're not like we're gonna go black and then woman. They're like, okay, we'll go black, we'll go back to white guy, and maybe a couple other white guys, and then a woman or something. You know what I mean? They can't go black guy then woman. Like then that's too much leeway.
Here's my question: why did everybody love Trump? And then as soon as he was like, "I'm running for presidency," everybody was like, "Fuck Trump, man." They were everybody would talk about Trump. He's the main man.
For the Republican Party.
He's the main man. He's like everybody rap songs. Yeah, I'm on my Donald Trump shit. Yeah, everybody talking. I want to be rich like Trump. And then all of a sudden he's like, "I'm running for presidency," and it was just like, "Fuck Trump," and then it just flipped switch.
So exactly, yeah. So they had him losing, and then come the election. Obviously, he wins, and he wins 3 times. I don't know if you guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know that or no?
Mm-hmm.
What?
So what happened was he won. They thought he cheated. So they counted again. He won by more votes. So they actually undercounted him the first time. And then they thought that, okay, well, the Russians must have
that seems that's unreliable if it's 2 different counts already.
But the point was that he actually won more the second time.
Yeah, then but if it's not the same amount each time, then it's unreliable. Exactly. So then can you really trust either amount?
So they counted it again.
If it was the same amount both times, it'd be more trustworthy.
Is that he won even more again?
So see, all 3 were 3 different amounts. That's even more strange.
Every single time. Well, what's I think even stranger than that is that they had him losing when now he won 3 times in a row. How are these polls correct? Now you notice that this is what's happening right now with Biden. They're saying he's losing, right? I don't know if you guys watch the polls at all.
No, I don't.
I thought Biden was winning up until
that's what he is right now. Biden is winning. They're just doing the same playbook as they did with Hillary. That's all they're doing.
But like so many people out there are like idiots, bro. Like if you go out and talk to like the general population that can vote.
Oh,
it's like, should you vote, bro? Do you vote?
Yeah. Well, so you have so the thing is Hillary initially, during the Obama administration, Obama had made it, I can't remember what bill it was, but he rushed a bill in there that was any person can be deemed a terrorist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any person can be deemed a terrorist. Now, Hillary was supposed to win, and this coronavirus was still going to happen. Hillary was supposed to win and make vaccines mandatory. By you disobeying and not getting a mandatory vaccine, you are deemed a terrorist.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay?
Okay, that's so crazy. The way I look at this, bro, is like you get your information, right? You research it and you just choose to believe from this source rather than from that source. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have any real proof that, like, what you said was going to happen. It's just some shit that you read online, right?
Well, I guess
it's literally like anyone could say in the opposite direction of what you just said. Right?
I guess anybody could say that, but then at the same time, we're seeing like the coronavirus deaths, we're seeing the illnesses, and they're saying how it's deadly, but no one's getting sick.
Yeah, but that doesn't add any proof to me that Hillary was supposed to win and lay out a mandatory vaccine. That just seems completely ridiculous. And she was like somehow in cahoots with China.
You have to connect all the dots. You have to connect all the dots from the Anthony Weiner laptop to the Russiagate investigation that now has come to light, to her involvement with Bill and Epstein and how close they were, and all these things coming to the light and their connections behind the scenes. There's so many dots that there's so many reoccurring names. Clinton's being one, Epstein's being one. There's a few more in that category. Tom Hanks being one, and now he's now he's a resident of Greece. That's that's a whole other fucking side missile. Just like I said with the Russiagate, as you were saying with the Russian collusion, everybody thought Trump was in bed with Russia, but meanwhile, Clinton and Obama paid for an investigation into the presidency before and after winning the run and the campaign, which is fucking illegal on like federal levels. Like that's like espionage almost, and it's just fucking absolutely crazy. And now that they're trying to rush Biden in, and you can see his cognitive decline. And
it's not.
Has he picked a vice yet? He's going through his cabinet, and
there was
how did we lose Tulsi Gabbard in this race? How did we lose these forward thinking people? And it's just mind boggling
because
how
they're
it came
forward
down.
thinking. That's how
it came down to these two, and that's our choices. It's crazy, but the evil you don't, like I said, the evil you know is better than the evil you don't, because once they get in, and also, sorry, Gates, that was the other name that I wanted to add into the triple thread of people being mentioned: Epstein, Gates, Clinton, this triple thread of motherfuckers running shit.
And when you look, so I just wanted to say about Sab there when he said, when you're looking at, how you have no proof. The thing is that no, but then we have no proof that that the news and all of them are telling the truth neither.
Mm-hmm. You know that's my point. That exactly. That's my point.
So there is no proof. There is no proof on either end.
Yeah,
But because there's an old saying, to say that all those people are lying is just as ridiculous as saying they're all telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you got to remember it like
most
that.
People do tell the truth, though. I feel like
most people tell the truth on what have they been told.
There's another old saying to the truth. I'll tell you right now, Sab. Maybe you'll understand. Telling the truth is the fastest way out of a situation, but it is not the best way.
Not always the best way.
Exactly.
So explain to it why it'd be a better way. It's not why. Is that
lie?
Sometimes it's not a better way.
Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth's too much for the general public. Like,
I don't.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Mm-hmm.
Like I seen a meme about COVID the other day, and it was literally like how like people now are like, oh, you gotta help each other out. We gotta wear a mask for each other. We gotta be
holy Jesus,
the humans. Except for the start of the COVID, you had people who don't live paycheck to paycheck buying 15 things of toilet paper and all the canned food. The same people who didn't give a fuck about people.
What do you guys think about the masks? I'm curious.
I'm against it. 100%. It makes no sense. Why in a decline you need the mask? For one, like the numbers make no sense. They come out, they say asymptomatic people don't spread it. They say, if you read the warnings on the mask, it says it does not protect against it. Breathing in your own carbon dioxide, for one, and just like removing the amount of oxygen to your brain is not fucking healthy.
The mask increases viral load.
No.
So the longer, most people don't wear their mask properly, so they're wearing a mask, and then all of a sudden they grab their face, they grab a doorknob, they grab their mask, move it off their face, take a piss, wash their hands a little bit, put the mask back on their face.
These are the ones.
And then,
these are the ones we got to wear at work.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have mine on me, but I got like I wear those SA face shields.
I can put my finger through this.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
My beard hair goes through it and gets caught in it.
100%.
You don't think a virus is going to go through this,
bro? And here's another thing that nobody's talking about, and you, for one, are a huge advocate of it. Is health, maintaining your health, eating right, vitamins, working out, and getting what you need. And they're just basically no doctors are saying do that. They're just like, here, wear a mask and stay away from people and hope for the fucking best. Like,
yeah.
Why is there no?
I was proven wrong when I said in the beginning. I said no. It takes a long time to bring down like the human's immune system, like to weaken it. And then watching there's these couple health doctors from California. They came out. They're really, really big right now. And what did they just do? They're basically fighting the government on reopening schools. They want to reopen, but the government doesn't, right? So they came out and said, actually, it takes just a couple months for your immune system to be brought down dramatically, right? And you got to remember that a lot of people don't eat properly. They don't sleep properly, right?
Yep, 100%.
And you got to remember something else. Now you throw in stress of something you can't see.
The invisible enemy, yes.
Yeah, and that's why
the fear is like the worst thing of this whole thing.
In the body, the worst thing for the body is actual stress. And now the reason why is because stress releases a hormone called cortisol. Now cortisol is a inflammatory hormone, and what happens is it makes your blood more acidic. It makes you more lethargic. You don't want to eat. When you're really pissed off, you don't want to eat, right? These are stress hormones, right? And what happens is if the body has enough stress, if the body becomes more acidic, it's the perfect environment for cancers, right? It does not take long. I don't know if it does not take long for the bot. Like some people lose hair. Like everybody reacts to it differently, but it doesn't take a lot. I was wrong. It does not take a long time I thought it took years, but it doesn't. Right. And so the whole point of the quarantine, they'll have you believe that it was for safety, when in fact, if you look at everything, it is a systematic destruction of the economy. Okay. Now, at first, that sounds like it's ridiculous. So why would they do that? Well, and you now no longer, especially now that Trudeau is in bed with the Chinese, right?
100%, man. He sold off 2 fucking gold mines in Canada.
Yeah, to the Chinese.
So, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
And he keeps selling land, selling buildings.
It's blowing my mind. It's blowing my, and we're just letting it. Nobody's talking about this shit.
If it sounds,
nobody's talking about this shit. Let's talk about Will Smith and his entanglement. Nobody's talking about this shit. What the fuck?
And the thing is the more that the Chinese own, the more they own Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
The more they own them,
terraforming, basically. Like,
it's not like that's not a conspiracy because the more
it's actual.
You can just look at the stats. You can look at the
stats. You can look what they're buying. You can see.
And then, like, if you look at charts, it's like they're like this. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. So in China right now is communist, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Right.
So very similar to Cuba, where everyone gets paid the same. There is no in, no out.
Oh no, it's not like that in China.
Well, it's very similar.
No, there's rich and poor. That's what it's like. There's just crazy. There's no middle class really in China.
Well, isn't that interesting? No middle class. Well, that's me and you.
Exactly, that's all.
Exactly, and that's who it destroys. It's collapsing. This quarantine.
There's the poor and there's the rich. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's communism. All the poor get paid the same.
Which is nothing.
Almost right?
Nothing, yeah.
So get this. And if you don't believe it, get this. That Trudeau, so there was a company, I can't remember what company it was. It was I'll if I remember I'll message it and maybe you guys can put the link somewhere in there.
Is it the
was that charity? Trudeau? No, it wasn't we.
Okay,
so Trudeau had said, well, we don't have, sorry guys, we don't really have, because of the COVID, because of everything, we need to work together. We can't pay everybody the $40 an hour that you guys make. So we're going to bring it lower. That is textbook. So everyone's getting paid the same now. So that's like as if I've worked at a place for 20 years, somebody
not
working
the poor people though. The people
no.
on welfare
we're talking
or
about,
whatever didn't get served or whatever.
No. But it's interesting because the poor here, I have people in my apartment, in my building, who are clearly on the government the pay.
Yeah,
they get paid by the government. And some of them look like they don't shower. Some of them look like they do the groceries at the Avondale, right? And I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, But all
it
of
is
a
a
sudden,
bad thing. They shouldn't be doing that just for their own.
well,
health.
if that's their choice,
not even for you like judging them for being gross, but like they shouldn't be doing that for their own health, man. Like
absolutely, I absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But what's interesting is these
okay
people
to say that.
who didn't have these people who didn't have money for their new pair of shoes, all of a sudden have bags of clothes with them.
Right.
It's from the CERB.
Yeah.
Because right now people are collecting all this CERB without having any verification that you actually work. Now, they're saying that, well, we're going to find out and there could be possible jail time. Where are you going to put them? This is just an empty threat. Mm-hmm. And what it's doing is it's putting the country further into debt.
Well, fuck, I should have served it up then, man. I didn't serve it up.
And then people don't know that it's taxed. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys know that.
And nobody knew that fucking 4 or 2 months into it that they were going to cut everybody off for a month because they fast tracked you the cash. Nobody knew that until everybody started getting this email being like, by the way, you won't be receiving your next payment because we fast tracked you this cash. Guaranteed, if anybody would have known that, they would have just been like, no, just do it regularly. Like,
you guys like that, though. My cigar.
That's a flame. La flame, my dude.
I love that you're smoking the cigar. Man.
Yeah. Did you guys hear about, and I didn't know this, my wife told me, that Bill Gates was here not too long ago.
Yeah, I heard word and wind. Yeah,
to meet with
premiers and yeah.
And guess what happened?
Why? Why are we taking information from someone who has no scientific background?
And guess what happened? As soon as he left.
He is not, bro. He has no degrees.
Okay, well,
no, he doesn't. No, he has.
They're only in technology. They're only in technology. There's nothing in science.
He invented this shit that we're using to talk to each other right now. It's such.
What does that have to do with viruses that you breathe in?
Yeah. He couldn't even keep his computer from getting a virus.
All right, but
what was I going to say? So
he was here to meet with Ford.
He was here to meet with Ford, and what happened right after?
What?
We have mandatory masks. Exactly.
Yeah,
mandatory masks.
The mandatory mask is
fast. It happened really fast.
It is weird, man, because I felt like
Jim Diodati.
We were moving in the opposite direction, but at the same time not. It's like
it's there. The thing is I don't know, when you guys watch the beginning, the news, first they're saying that the deaths are up, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden they're not talking about deaths anymore.
It's just cases.
They're just cases. Why would they do that? What happened to the deaths?
All the deaths are fucking going down.
And why are we still talking about cases? Because they're not going up like they were. It's basically just we flattened the curve. What they've all wanted, wanted, we did it. And then now we're getting worse. Now we're getting our freedoms are worse now. Now we have to wear masks. Now we have to keep this up. As soon as they take a freedom from you, it's very hard to get whatever they took from you back.
It is hard. Even going to bars and shit feels weird, man. Everything is weird. The servers are all wearing masks.
I'm almost sick. I'm almost sick to go to the grocery store because when it first happened, people were looking at me like I got like bat wings coming out.
Yeah, because you're not wearing a mask, man. I call people out on that shit. I don't give a fuck. If they want to talk to me about it, I'm like, listen. And then I just drop facts on them, and then they're just like, you don't care about people. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. My boss, and Dylan, 15 years I've known him. And my first shift back, I said, hey, how are you? Nice to see you. How's everything? How's your family? I went to go shake his hand. He's like, I'm not shaking your hand.
They bump elbows. I've had so many people do that.
Listen, I don't know.
What's the difference? What the fuck's this? What's difference?
I remember Mike Pence. He said it. He said it best. He's like, when men shake hands. Men shake hands. I feel the way I was I trust you when I shake your hand. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for 15 years, knowing him, all of a sudden saying I'm not, it's like, and not to mention he's washing his hands every 10 minutes anyway.
No, 100%. I feel the same way because I get upset when people I know and care about fall victim to this this way of thinking, this sheepish mind state of whatever I see on the news, I regurgitate without using my own like just critical thinking. And these are people I love, people in my family, and it just it physically fucking hurts me.
It's really painful because it's even in the families now. Families refuse to see each other, you know?
Yep, man.
And we all knew that this crazy shit was gonna happen, but like I didn't think it was gonna happen so soon, man.
I think that's what everybody thought.
We were actually gonna see the government do weird ass shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and
before I'm 30 years old, like, you know what I mean?
Do you guys think that there's going to be a second wave, or I'll say a second quarantine?
I think that shit's just gonna. I think there's gonna be a second, a third, a fourth. I think shit's gonna keep getting worse and worse from here on out.
2020 double down,
and
baby.
Like, that's why it's like, as like an artist or whatever, I want to release everything that I have, everything that I've been working on, while there's still a fucking internet, bro. Like, I don't even know how long we're gonna have this. Like, I feel like I'm taking everything for granted, you know what I mean? Where it's like, those rich fuckers that have all the power can literally take everything away any second they want.
Well, look at me.
They could kill us. They could kill us all any second they want. They could take away electricity. They could take away internet. They could take away clean water. Everything could get fucked real fast. And if that happened, I'm so unprepared. I don't fucking know how to live in the wild. I don't fucking know how to filter water or anything like that. You know what I mean? What the fuck am I gonna do?
Sab, I've had nightmares going down, like if me and my wife go for a walk or something, or walking the dog or whatever, I'll look around and be like, I can maybe dig a hole here and live in the hole.
Bro, I do that shit all the time. Like, yo, I got like spots around the city and shit hits the fan. I'm going there. I'm robbing some fucking freezers I know about. I'm going I got some spots. You know?
Like I'm like, wow, okay, well there's that looks like if I covered it with sticks, it looked I could make like it looked like it's part of the ground. Yeah. Helicopters wouldn't see it going over.
Yeah.
You know,
bro.
So you guys think of that too.
Oh yeah, man, of course, man. If I get rich, the first thing I'm doing is building a bunker. And I want to build it big enough that I don't have to be alone and I can invite my friends.
All those people we made fun of for making those underground bunkers. And now it's like
all those doomsday preppers. They're sitting down there eating their fucking KD and beans and fucking laughing at us like ain't no Rona getting us. Boy, let's go.
Yeah.
Bring on the zombies. We're waiting.
What's your guys' view on BLM?
It's pretty interesting. Like I went in March. Like the cause, yes. The organization itself, and being funded by Soros and his many hands into many fucking crazy things is pretty wild, because the movement is almost counterintuitive to what the meaning is. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
That's the issue. Yeah.
And we martyred a bad person. We made George Floyd. We built him up so high and put him on a pedestal that it was so easy to knock him off of it that it almost discredits, and it sucks that
he's not even being talked about anymore.
Mm-hmm. And now how fucked up is this? The correlation between him saying I can't breathe and a mandatory masks and people claiming I can't breathe. It's the same catchphrase, and it's absolutely fucking mind blowing. The regurgitation of uses of words that they just use at you all the time to just influence your brain subconsciously that you're not even thinking about. Like. The fear, and you don't even realize it.
I think the Black Lives Matter, I think the premise of it, the meaning of it is fine. I think that I agree with it. But when you start thinking about everything, right? This isn't really playing devil's advocate. It's kind of more looking at the whole picture here. Like, well, what about the Chinese, like the ones that live here? They're probably one of the most discriminated against, people. We always make fun of them. You know, we make fun of their small dicks. We make fun of their slanted eyes all the time. But no one's saying, and they get.
Yo, just sorry to interrupt you though.
No.
But like not by the police, right? That's the thing. And it's
no,
like,
but if you look at stats, also, white people
Asians
get killed by
don't
cops.
get
No, that's what I'm saying. But white people get killed more by police, and the death by police, and it's all in context too, right? Because it's not just like they're shooting unarmed black people all the fucking time, and they're not shooting unarmed white people all the time.
Yeah.
But here's also saying, you see crazy videos of cops all the time. There's 330 million altercations of cops in the fucking United States a year. And 20 of those ones get glorified as bad on the internet, and cops get the shit end of the fucking stick.
Well, you saw the one.
You don't see the other millions and millions of great. You do, but you do. You see a small fraction of the good shit. The cops come. They got called on some kids playing basketball. Now they show up every week. They brought a celebrity in. There are good fucking cops, and to defund the cops is just the fucking wildest thing. They need more funding because of the bad fucking status quo just to get in. You have less training than a fucking hairstylist at a salon, and you're put on the streets to be put in crazy dangerous situations where your adrenaline is running constantly. In just hair trigger moments can fuck your whole day up, fuck your whole career up, and glorify you as bad, good, vice versa. And you're placed in these crazy situations, and many people don't think about the mental stress that they're on. They're just like, motherfuckers got badges and guns. And unfortunately, the screening process does not do due process. In the body cam, you don't see, not a lot of people glorify the cops, and there's a small minimum of people who will. That's why the bad gets glorified and so blown out of proportion. Fuck defunding the cops. We need to refund the screening program, and they need to be constantly trained. They need to be educated in their laws, because a lot of them are uneducated. They need to at least have like a law degree, some sort of purple belt, and some sort of fucking hand-to-hand combat, so that they are more comfortable in situations where they don't have to just draw guns and shoot people, dogs, innocent bystanders, whatever it may be. How many videos are there of just cops shooting dogs for no fucking reason?
Yeah, just because they're scared.
They're scared. In a situation where you're a purple belt, you've rolled with enough people and got your ass whooped to understand situations. And like, to the point where you won't ever have to, like, there's people there's people who have never discharged their weapons. We could have almost everybody be those people if they just understood situational awareness.
Well, you know what's funny is I wonder if there are as many. I didn't think of this till now. Are there as many? Like, I wonder how many animals, like dogs, are getting shot and no one's marching for them. Like, I know that doesn't really matter, but it is an interesting point, because
why are nobody marching in the streets over these fucking missing children, over these trafficking things? Toronto, a constable just got fucking paid fucking leave for being a part of a fucking racketeering ring of underage fucking women.
I saw that today.
Paid fucking leave, man? No, this was like a week or two ago. Like, paid fucking leave, man? Where are we at? Where are we at with a society that this is just so... And people look at these headlines and they're like, whatever. And then they look at the COVID ones and freak the fuck out. And then they look at protesters in the streets rioting for something they believe in, and now it's a war because they don't believe they should be on the streets because we couldn't protest for COVID. Why? Because your government told you not to, so you chose not to? Well, then you didn't fucking protest, did you? You didn't stand up for what you believed in.
Yeah.
You were told to shut up and you abided by the rules.
You know,
don't get mad at me for speaking my fucking opinion.
Yeah, and the thing is I remember there are people that before I was banned from Facebook, and I got banned from Instagram too.
Old parent companies right there.
Yeah. I didn't really know that, but I don't really understand. Like, I didn't have anything.
They just basically shut down anything with your IP address, your probably anything connected to your email and phone number. Gone.
So
Ban Hammer, it's over here in the fucking "we're watching you" corner.
Try Twitter.
He's
I did.
Yeah, we already got that. Yeah, we'll have your little Twitter handle pop up over under you during the
what's it called? You know what? I remember getting into like big arguments, and before I was banned with people saying that people I went to school with, with buddies, we went to parties, we did all these things, and they still called me racist. When I said, well, how come you're allowed to protest the BLM, but we're not allowed to protest lockdown or masks for the sake of spreading? I don't understand the standard, but they will justify it.
So here's a crazy twist in the French. Why are the minorities supposed to be the ones to get the injections and vaccines first? Like my way of looking at it is they're setting up the black community to try and implode on themselves by making them march in the streets and try to make them responsible for another COVID outbreak. Then they want to use them as the testing zone for the vaccinations first. It's almost like a targeted fucking attack, and everybody's all like, no, we don't see anything going on in the world.
You know what, Dylan? I don't think that they believe that there's nothing going on. I think what it is that it's so scary that it is a subconscious protection.
To easily shut it out instead?
Yes. Their subconscious sees it and is working with it, but it will not allow the brain to process it consciously like us. Because if we're able to talk about this, disagree or agree, it doesn't matter, that means that your subconscious is almost as strong. Like it's a good thing. Because even people in my family will not talk about this.
Oh man, it gets heated sometimes at the family dinners now.
Hot.
It gets hot, man. It gets hot at the family dinners now. It's crazy. You just bring up one thing. You say, "Oh, did you hear this today?" You almost can't talk about anything going on outside the house at a family dinner without being like, "Oh shit."
And I don't want to talk about did something, funny happen. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about every now and then talking about movies and stuff is fine, but I want to see where everyone's at. I want to see where everyone's at. Like, so did you see this happen? What do you think about the lockdown? Or what do you think about, like, how dangerous do you think it actually is? And I wanted to say to Sab here, when he was saying about the deaths of the black people being killed by the cops. That's true. Yeah. But you got to remember, what about the Hispanics? They're pretty discriminated against as well. Pretty massively, actually. A lot of them, when you walk by them with tattoos, the ones with tattoos and bald, they immediately the cops are just as likely to put their hand on their hip, thinking that this guy's part of, you know what I'm trying to say?
Right, and Native people too get,
that was suicides we looked up last time, not this.
All right, so I would agree, the Hispanic people get targeted just as much, but I think the racial profile is right. Like, Hispanic people are more or less in those black ghetto neighborhoods. That's where most minorities of that color, that stature in the American system works, right? Like, I hand quotations American system because it's white, right? It's white, probably even Asian. Like you were saying, Asians get discriminated against, but this is the truth. Asians don't have a ghetto that they were put in. Nixon's administration literally created ghettos and put crack in those neighborhoods and take fathers away from their kids.
Absolutely.
This is the truth. Okay, so at the end of the day, you're right. Okay, I get it. So black people need to do a better job. This is the truth, and I'm black myself. The truth is, black people need to do a better job of educating. Educating is the biggest word here. Between if you get called racist by somebody forever, at the end of the day, it's education. It's me educating my knowledge to you. So I'm not saying you're racist. I can sit here and have a conversation with you. I understand your points. I've sat here. I've listened. The Black Lives Movement, like Weber says, is more or less about true Black Lives Black Lives Matter is not about just Black lives. Okay, you have to understand that they're fighting for colored people. It's not it's just not colored lives. Black Lives Matter it's a ring. It has a name. That's why it sells. It's a good along a T-shirt, right? If you put colored lives matter, it's not as much as a ring. Black Lives Matter, true Black Lives Matter stands for everybody. Yes, Black Lives Matter itself is a brand. And so my point is, I understand what you're saying, but the point is the true Black Lives Matter, the smart, Black Americans, or even just world Black American, Black people in general, they're understanding that they're fighting for those Hispanic people. They're fighting for the police suppression. All they're fighting for really is to not have discrimination, and that goes along anybody of color. It's just not, and unfortunately,
that's why Black Lives Matter doesn't get the rep it deserves, because it's an incomplete sentence. It's Black Lives Matter as well. That is basically
But when you say as well, you mean all lives matter then.
Yes, exactly, right.
Which for some reason
they feel but they feel like exactly right. But they feel like they're behind the curve, and they do not. That's why they're seeking a voice. Obviously, I get it, because for so long in the Western civilization, they've been oppressed. They've been the root of basic slavery here. They pioneered fucking America, and they still get a bad rep. They still get placed in ghettos. They still get fucking marginalized. They still get you start off with a shitty roll of the dice half of the time, because the people before you, just like Marcus said, education is a huge thing. All they know is their nurture around them. Guns, sell this, right? Nobody's teaching them, hey, there's a better way to do things. You can get out of here, and you can make a better place for your
that's interesting.
For your
that's
children.
Interesting. Because if you go back like to history, right? If you go back to history, you can see that there are a number of races being discriminative, right? We'll agree on that.
Yep.
Right. When you go back, you see the Italians being discriminated on, right?
You see the Irish when they moved to America.
You see the Irish, exactly. You see the Italians, you see the Irish, the Black, the Chinese. Now, what are the similarities? And I want to go back to the Hispanics, because there was a point I wanted to make about that. That the Irish, the Italians, and the Chinese, what did all those three do?
They came from overseas.
Not only that, not only, well, because a lot of the blacks came from America or Africa as well. But the thing is that all of them, those three, they did, a lot of them, work extremely hard to get out of that. Right?
Yeah.
They said that even though the government was very open about disliking them, right? Having their foot on their neck, they said, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not going to have this American foot on while you guys walk on my sidewalk that I just built for you, right? Now, that's a very lame way of putting it. It's a very quick way of putting it. But about the Hispanics, they're not in the same ghettos. You got to remember that. They don't live in the same ghetto at all. I wanted to kind of say they separate each other. They're very racist towards each other, but they do not fight each other unless they cross territory and shit like that, which I don't understand. I don't understand the territories, but they do not.
It would be like Niagara Falls broken down into 5 sections.
Yes,
Two of the sections are Mexican, one's on the other side, one's on this side. There's two black in between.
And that exists here. There's an Italian part of Niagara Falls, which my family is there.
And Serbians.
There is, and Serbians, but they do not fight each other. They talk shit about each other, but they're not fighting. Okay? So you got to remember, so what is that is happening over there that makes it so different?
Can I make one point here quickly?
Yeah.
Is you said when Italians, Irish, all of those people, the difference is like historically, what years did they actually come here? What years did those groups of people come here? After the 1920, between 1920 and 1955, and not even post-colonized, actually way later. If you actually look at the biggest migration, it's actually after World War II. So that's when they all came here. So after World War II, everyone was like, oh, opportunity, boom. I mean, remember, America didn't even really fight in World War II. They fought Japan for a little bit, dropped 2 bombs, and they were like, yeah, we're out. Does anyone want to fuck around? No, they didn't. So then all of those companies, Japanese, Chinese, all of those people, they were coming to America because America sold guns to the entire war, and the industrial revolution was coming. So like, you're right, absolutely, Italian people, and I have like a lot of respect. I didn't say zero. I have a lot of respect because they did come here. They worked hard. But understand something. When they came here and worked hard, a lot of those people dropped in where? New Jersey, New York, high populated areas. So when they did come here and they worked, you worked for 5 years. You worked your ass off, but then you made the money they made, the properties they bought in New York City that were taken away from black people who went and fought in the war and their families. So they owned properties in those areas. Remember, the black people's slavery just ended less than 100 years before that.
But the point that I'm trying to,
those properties were taken. Is my point.
The point that I understand, and you're right. It was in the 20s. You're right. That the point that I'm trying to make is the open discrimination. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make. The government was not hiding it. Okay, no. The police weren't hiding it. Nobody was hiding it. They hated the Italians, they hated the Chinese, they hated the Irish, and they hated the blacks, right? When the Irish came here, when the Italians came here, Okay, it was a choice for opportunity. We know that they want to.
They came over when they came on the boats. It was a lot different. Is the point I'm trying to make.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant by pre and post colonization, right? The black people obviously were pre-colonization because they're ones fucking helped pave the way.
Well, they were also told they were going to be given land, which they were given, and then remember, taken away again. So like I said, all of those places, the Italian Americans, yeah, they were hated by the government, Southern Americans and actual, like the English Americans, right? Because of course, why wouldn't England hate Ireland and all those places? Because they've had beef for hundreds of years before that. So the point is, by the time you got to colonized America, which was mostly English American, which was becoming mostly American, they then at that point, obviously are going to hate Irish people that are coming here, but they gave them opportunity. When they came here, they were given jobs immediately. They built New York from the ground up. Then they bought property. Again, the property that they bought was taken away from people, black people from the 1920s who, again, because the government lost so much money during the Depression, that they took land from all of those people. They took land all over. The entire Central Park in New York City was black owned. They just took that shit to make a fucking park. Like, and this happened all over New Jersey, New York, and all of these places that have prime land that's being sold for billions and millions of dollars, millions and billions of dollars. And that's my point, is that, yeah, you guys got discriminated against, but again, those Italian people came here and they were already established, and some of them were wealthy. So a lot of those dudes that came here, they already had mob life, and this is just the truth, in Italy, and they were making millions of dollars in the wine industry for almost 100 or 200 years before that. So by the time they did come to America, yeah, you're right. Well, they were sent here to work. Then they established business. Same thing as China.
The thing is
here to go to university. They set up business.
Well, you got to remember something, that when the Italians came here and they started making businesses, it's because they had something that the Americans didn't. Okay, they were able to create business because they were able to do things Americans couldn't.
Yeah.
For instance.
Exactly.
So hang on.
So they had something to offer.
Exactly. So hang on. My point, what I'm trying to really say here is that, well, why all of a sudden are we seeing, like, so they were able not only were they able to do pavement better than anybody else, okay? They were able to cook better than everybody else. They were able to make wine better and faster than everyone else. So it's not like they just made a business as soon as they came here. You know what I mean? They had it in here what they were going to do and how to do it.
Yeah, which
right?
is like,
but they were not.
That's what I said.
But hang on, they were. But you got to remember, they were not handed it. They were forced to make it happen. Okay. Now the point that I'm trying to subtly put in there is that we know that they were heavily discriminated on, right? We know that we see the pictures of the Chinese sleeping on top of each other. We see the Irish sleeping in the ghettos just as much as the blacks. But the Chinese, the Italians, and the Irish, none of them rose up into groups and said, Italian lives matter, Chinese lives matter. No one did. They kept their mouth shut and worked. Now, I'm not saying that the Black lives can't do that. And I'm not saying they didn't do that. But what I am saying is, why aren't they saying anything? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well,
now, to continuously say, and to continuously say that the blacks are, and I'm not going to say African American. I will not say that, because you are not African. You are American. You were born in America. You are an American. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be an African, go to Africa. But I guarantee you wouldn't be able to live there.
Because there's
can I make a point here then?
That is kind of crazy that we say all like African American to black people when Jamaican, Caribbean, and all these different fucking Trinidadian, all these different cultures are actually in there. That's almost more offensive saying African American than
it is. I don't know. Sorry, Marcus. I'll let you go. I'll let you say in a second. It is very strange. It is very strange to me how I want to be called African, but you're not. Now you got to remember something. In the Congo,
I feel like it's more white people that are like, we should call them African American.
It could be. It
is. It's historically white people made it. What's the word for it? Politically correct to say African American over Negro. which was the truth, or black, or like whatever. Like the point I'm trying to say is, listen, the United States of America doesn't want Mexicans getting in. Yet remember, America is technically all of South America and North America. Like they're all the Americas. So if you're in
Canada, Mexico, U.S.,
all of them are the Americas. That's how it was colonized. Remember, the British came here, right? Like, we have to understand something. They built the entire system. So if that's the system and it's the Americans, and then the Americans are saying, oh, we only want Americans. Really? So South Americans aren't Americans? They're just South Americans now, right? It's okay then. This is my problem. The problem is that we have somewhere lost, and this is just the truth. And I'm not like a white hater or a black supremacist. I'm not a black supremacist, but this is the point. We've lost the ability to differentiate that nobody is different. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We've lost the ability to talk as humans. We've lost the ability to understand, hey, Marcus Merker, black, Canadian American, whatever the case may be, of fair skin, is no different than Dylan Weber. Skill-wise, we are absolutely zero difference. Okay, we work right beside each other, and we are like as good as each other. If not, you are better than me. But the point is you're not. I might be better in another aspect, right? So we have to understand at some point, and this is just the truth. And I'm not talking about systematic. I'm not talking about systematic racism.
You guys box. I know who I'm betting on.
Right. I'm not talking about systematic racism, because I think systematic racism is just a fancy word put on angry people trying to use an excuse. That's how I'll word that. I think the point is that we, at some point in human history, and I think this is hundreds of years ago, have just decided that white people, and I'm not saying that, again, I'm not a black supremacist, white people are better. So the point is that we genuinely have gone through life. And even if you look in America, remember, all my point is this: the reason why Black Lives Matter is an important catchphrase, the reason why it's important, regardless of if it's just black lives or yellow lives, or I say this all the time, blue, green, yellow, whatever the color you may be, the reason why Black Lives is important is because we have lost who we are as humans, right? Or human beings.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that.
And Black Lives in 2020, remember, this guy's getting choked, and we're asking for Black Lives Matter. And the fact that we have to fight for an even Black Lives Matter, and we can't even stand together. Like, if hear me out, ready for this? You want to stop all the hate? Then agree with Black Lives Matter. Stand with it, because now we're all Black Lives Matter. So who's hating, right? Then when it is all lives matter, it is all lives matter. When a white guy gets killed, everyone stands, all lives matter. Then we're standing together. That's how we win. We're losing because we can't stand together. And this is our problem.
Again, but then Marcus, by saying that, you're eliminating opinion. You're eliminating freedom of speech, though. If I have, in order to,
we can't complain.
I do.
I see what Marcus is saying. It's like weird how he said it, but like, to get to where all lives matter isn't offensive to Black Lives Matter, you have to understand that the Black Lives Matter. So if you're going to say all lives matter, then you also have to be in agreement that Black Lives Matter, and you can't fight it, because that's almost an oxymoron. That's almost like a hypocritical sentence.
But at what point, but guys, at what
saying
point?
That Black Lives don't, like the movement Black Lives doesn't matter, but all lives matter is like a hypocritical sentence.
Like you can't like tag us along. We can't be a part of it. It has to be different than us. And the reason why, and hear me out, I'm not saying Black Lives Matter is more important than all lives. The point is that we in 2020 have to fight
argue about
over. We're arguing over literally black people. No, you're right. All right. If we want to talk about statistics, it's true. You're right. Black people are absolutely killed less than white people in the United States of America by police. This is the truth. White people are killed the most. They also take up 78% of the population.
Yeah.
Or 72% of the population, and the black population take up 13%. So if you look at the relative, if you were to sit them beside each other, it's black people are killed at a higher rate. Now, I can bring up statistics, but statistics are pointless for the sheer point of we need to stop fighting. In general, we are fighting over an all lives matter or Black Lives Matter. Just say Black Lives Matter, because then when you stand with Black Lives, we stand with you. It's not hard. We stand as a gang. We're a human gang. That's it, right? We can't even stand together.
So let me just, and I do understand what you're saying.
Because a black man was killed unjustly, regardless of how bad George Floyd was as a human being. But there was a knee on his neck for 8 minutes.
Nobody should be killed for
Breonna
anything.
Taylor.
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
We need to bring justice for Breonna Taylor.
But
okay.
I don't
what
also
about
agree with what I just said.
Right.
Okay, but you got to remember there's a couple things that have to be kind of addressed. Is that if I can say if somebody is expecting me just to, you don't like, because I do understand what everybody's saying, and I do understand what you're saying, Marcus, but if in order for us to agree on something, or at least get along, we'll say that I need to agree with Black Lives Matter. I've never disagreed with it. And I think you gotta remember something. This is 2020 now. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think there is more discrimination on somebody's weight than there is skin color.
Oh,
I think people are getting more discriminated against. No, hang on. Let me finish. Let me just. There are more people now being discriminated against their weight than they are with their skin color. That is an absolute fact that nobody is addressing. I do it every single day, where I look at a fat guy. Yeah. Well, hang on. I'll look at a fat guy and be like,
me and Marcus do it every single day.
Jesus Christ. So you're telling, but okay, so let me ask you something, Dylan. Being a white guy, do you see a black guy and say something derogative?
Bro, I don't see color. I'll say that much. Like,
but you see weight.
Oh yeah, bro. Like,
okay, so here we go.
I see health.
So now,
health.
When we say, I
don't know if it's so much weight. I see health. Like I can tell, like,
but it doesn't matter.
Because like a skinny person who has a drug problem, you can point out, and I see that as like, oh man.
But this is what
it's
I'm
the
saying.
Same way I look at it as a fat person who's unhealthy, or someone who's not taking care of themselves.
It's under the same
umbrella. Weight works that way too.
But
bro, I have friends of every creed and color, man. Like,
yes, and I absolutely agree with that. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if I think, because this is 2020 here. And I think that is an absolute fact that nobody is addressing. That if more people are being discriminated against, now whether it's drugs or overeating induced, the body image, more than the skin color, then why do I have to agree with BLM in order to get along?
Because being fat doesn't get you shot by police.
But let me ask you something. No, it doesn't. But let me ask you something. Why is it so hard for the BLM to say, you know what? All lives matter as well, because that brings us all together too. That brings us all together too. Yes.
No, we have. It's getting the all lives matter people to say Black Lives Matter. That's the difference.
Yeah, I agree with Marcus on that one.
That's the divide.
That is where it comes, because the Black Lives Matter, they don't care. Like, all lives matter.
It is all lives matter.
But the fact that, like I said, the fact that you say all lives matter, but not agree with the Black Lives Matter. But then again, I'm also.
But there's also a problem here that do Black Lives Matter only if a white person kills them, or is it that,
because black on black crime and death is actually the highest statistic of black male death in America.
Just the other day,
and that's something that's not talked about either.
We know that two black men drove up and shot a father and their daughter dead. This is just maybe like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. Okay. Wasn't covered. It was filmed on security camera, but wasn't covered. BLM didn't march for it. No one talked about it. Why? Because it doesn't go with the narrative. We're only talking about white people shooting black.
And I also agree that if something's being glorified in the media, that there's probably a problem.
Now, I'm not saying that that's everything. I'm not saying that that's like the soul of what's the BLM. That's not what I'm saying. But if BLM isn't going to march against black people shooting each other, then they have priorities mixed up then. That is the problem here, because it is being filmed. They are seeing each other shooting each other. And we've seen it. It's filmed. It's not something made up, right? So they're not going to march against each other. If they're not going to march against each other and say, listen,
no, but that's
enough is enough.
Because the death of black people by cops is smaller than the death of black people by black people. Which
exactly is my point. So what are you
something that nobody's
then?
talking about. Exactly. No, I get your point as well. And that's what I don't consider. Me and Marcus have had this conversation too. Why they glorify for the skit Free Pookie. What did Pookie do? He killed 8 people. Well, Pookie deserves to be in fucking jail. Why are we rioting like George Floyd? Okay, he died, but we shouldn't use him as a fucking martyr
We shouldn't use him as a saint that he was so innocent when he wasn't. That way, like I said in the beginning, it discredits the whole thing because you put the wrong person at the head of your movement. No, and it's so easy to move the pedestal over and knock it down and to argue the point, which creates the divide in the country, which is what they want. Everybody was getting together. Right. Everybody was singing Kumbaya in the fucking streets a week before, bro. We were all playing music on our fucking porches in Italy, and everybody was singing fucking ensembles in the streets. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, everybody's getting along? How are we going to do this? So then we had the killing. Then we had the shooting of the kid in the fucking South by the two guys who were ex-fucking cops in the back of their pickup trucks. That didn't get that much attention. So then George Floyd had to take the knee, and then boom. Okay, now we're dividing them. Now we got them divided again. Now they're angry. Nobody's on each other's side, and nobody's going to agree.
I do.
So then now it's BLM or masks. Which side are you on? And now, I just want to say that one has to trump the other, and we can't go for both at the same time. If you're marching against masks, then somehow it's then you're for the BLM movement and killing people in the streets and riots. No, I'm not for riots. I'm for the fucking message behind the movement that all lives need to fucking matter, and everybody needs to recognize that there's some fucking crazy obstructions going on in this world.
My point is we're right back around to all lives matter again, and it's just like but I do agree with Marcus, though. I do agree with a lot of what you're saying. I do.
Black Lives Matter agrees with All Lives Matter. The difference is, like I said before, it's All Lives Matter doesn't agree with Black Lives Matter. But the difference with
when someone says save the rainforest, no one goes, save all the forests. You know what I mean?
Yes, because there's a problem with that. But
that's
But also, no, at the same time, fucking, fuck, Marcus, what were you just saying?
It's Black Lives Matter agrees with All Lives.
Oh, okay, yeah. So here's the point. Black Lives Matter, the movement, dope. The people who run the organization are using it in a bad way, which is discrediting it. With George Soros funding it and doing that's what I'm saying. By using the wrong pieces on the puzzle, they're making the movement look so bad when really the core root of it and the heart of where it came from is just and humble, and we just want acceptance. And they took it and they're like, we can run with this. It's marketable.
This is what happens. This is what happens, though. It's the Black Lives. If we all going to get rid, if we can stop the black killings by police officers, right? If we can stop these videos from happening, the discrimination by any group of human beings, if we can stop this from happening.
In order to stop, in order to stop the killings of black people by police officers, then you have to stop the killings of all people by police officers.
I agree. So then what happens is, when you stop these videos, you create trust, and when there's trust, there's less murder in general. The country just comes together. Like it's a pointless fight.
Well, it's not really fighting. Well, Marcus, it's not really the videos that are the problem. It's which videos are being shown. Because now hear me. Because there was not too long ago you saw the two cops. You saw the two police officers. You saw the two police officers shoot the one black guy in the back at the one falling asleep in the Wendy's, right? So let me hear. So not too long after, you saw about 2 weeks later, you saw a father and daughter. I think the daughter was maybe 4 years old, maybe 6. I can't really remember. Was shot. You didn't see that video, but you can search on YouTube if it's there. If it's still there, I don't know. But my point is they showed the two white cops shoot him in the back. So it's not the videos that are the problem. It's which videos are being shown. Okay.
So the guy and the daughter
and you gotta remember that those
two. Is that the thing?
Yeah, they drove up. They were walking on a crosswalk, and this car just pulled up, and you just see this gun come out of the window and shoot both of them.
But they weren't. No one knows why. No one knows. A random drive-by.
It was a random drive-by.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The two white.
Those are two different situations that don't apply to each other. They're both gun violence, but cops and random shootings aren't in the same category.
No, but it's the videos. So we're seeing black people shoot black people, but you're only going to show white cops shooting black people.
Okay, but it's cops, though.
Which is a small statistic.
Yeah. You're not seeing white cops shooting white people.
You do all the time. You do all the time.
That's what you should be saying then. You shouldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you shouldn't be comparing a random drive-by. You should be comparing the fact that the circulation of
white cops shooting black people to black people shooting black people. it's a white cop shoot. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe you're right. Maybe I did kind of get off a little bit.
Yeah.
But let me just try.
The comparison you're making is that the videos where it's not showing the other side of the story don't get circulated and pushed as much.
Let me I can see the point. I can see all of your points now. But let me just try and push it more. Let me just see that. So at the Wendy's, right? At the Wendy's one, and actually the one cop wasn't white. He was he looked like he wasn't white like me. He was like Hispanic looking.
Which is interesting about the George Floyd one too, because like all the cops, there was the one white guy, he's the main one, Derek Chauvin, he did it. But there was a Hispanic cop, there was like four different ethnicities. It looked like the Village people all chose the same uniform for the day and they fucked up at dress rehearsal.
Right. But my point is and there was huge uproar about it when the videos came, and both those cops were fired. Right, both those cops were fired when they know that the black guy was drunk. He was not only falling asleep, but he also was beating up. But he also
deserved to be killed for that.
Yeah, nobody deserves to be killed for nothing.
But listen, did you guys? Okay, but you're missing this.
You shouldn't use that as a reason, though.
He not only resisted arrest. Okay, did you guys see this or no?
Doesn't matter. Man, it doesn't matter. Nobody deserves to be killed
unless
this I didn't see the video. Unless this video ends with this man pulling a weapon of some sort.
Let me tell you what happened.
I watched the entire.
There's so many better ways to handle that. Like, you can't tell me that you wouldn't be able to handle that better. You know what I mean?
So I watched the entire 40-minute video. Okay, so I watched the entire 40-minute dash cam video, or like the
I watched it
video.
Too. Yeah.
So I'll tell you this. The guy fought both police officers to the ground.
He fought them.
Drunk and half asleep?
Yeah, drunk, half asleep.
We're getting this guy in the UFC. Let's go.
Guys, he fought both of them.
Let Marcus say what he's going to say.
He fought both of them to the ground. He took his taser. He took one of the cop's tasers. He ran away. The cop pulled his gun. At that point, the guy turned back around and shot the taser at the cops. And shot the taser at the cops. The cops feared for their lives, and they opened fire. And he was shot 6 times.
So you know what? I'm not even mad, bro. That's a fucked up situation. That's like Dylan, lethal force. That's almost a requirement.
Well, Dylan, you got to remember something. So the argument was it justified? Right?
I think that's partially justified.
Well,
I don't know what the code is. I don't know what the code is on pulling a taser, a non-threatening weapon, to use lethal force.
I'll tell you something, Dylan.
But the fact that a single man wrestled him to the ground and stole their shit.
I also went to school for policing.
Yes.
If you assault a police officer, right, that's a federal crime, right? You will go to jail, right? But they have every right to use every force available. Now, there is what's called a system where it comes down. Now first they use their hands, and then they use like the spray, baton, and then weapon.
Okay, so you got to go through the hierarchy before you pull the.
But if he is reaching for your taser, which is what this guy did, who shot at Wendy's, you know how many shots the taser has?
1. 3.
3 shots. Okay, no, it's not 1. Some of them have 2, some of them have 3. There is no 1.
Shit.
So the thing, and you got to remember that some of them are like the prong ones, and some of them shoot distance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's running away. As he's running away, he still has more shots in that thing. So now he's also a danger to other people. So what do you say? Oh, I'll just catch up with him?
So now he's also a threat to the public with.
You could shoot him in the leg or something, though. You could shoot him like in the fucking.
Well, you got to remember something.
That's also something. You could subdue him. Because if it's just a taser, that's an easy thing to disarm, especially if it hits somebody. Because you can.
What if he grabbed? What if he grabbed the cop's gun though?
So now that is a completely different story, though.
So
that's all. That's situational and contextual, and then this also brings me back to these cops should have known some sort of hand-to-hand combat to deal with a drunk falling asleep guy in a Wendy's.
You're right. So I think it's neglect in the police officers. So first of all, so I said to you, Kyle, We watched a 43-minute video. Kyle, how long was the actual altercation the actual physical altercation between the police? It was about 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about 3.
I want you to understand something. There's a 40-minute video of them standing in front of him, chastising him, walk heel to toe 10 steps, and then walk heel to toe back. Then
it's not called
for 35 minutes. They're bullshitting.
It's not called.
They're bullshitting and running stupid field tests, knowing goddamn well he passed out in the drive-through parking lot.
But you got to remember, Marcus. You got to remember something. That first off, it's not chastising. It's not chastising. Okay, it's not a humiliation. Okay, it is establishing what is wrong with this guy, because being drunk is different than being on drugs. Okay,
or just being
a
fucking
they talked to him for 35 minutes for bullshit.
That's
sitting there doing field sobriety
Marcus,
tests.
that's protocol. That is protocol.
Oh
not
my
to
God.
mention. Okay, but hang on. Hear this then. Fine, if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But you got to remember something. They weren't rude to him. They weren't pushing him around. They weren't. He had no reason to punch them. Right? You'll agree with that.
No, absolutely. I think the guy was an idiot for trying to evade police in the first place. But when you have a 40-minute altercation that really takes 4 fucking seconds.
Well, have you ever
understand?
Well, Sab or Marcus, have you ever been pulled over?
Yes.
I've been pulled over too. How long do they hold you there for?
Forever.
I was there for about 15, 20 minutes.
Forever.
Yeah, man.
They hold you forever. When they
that's even before they even get out of their fucking car, man.
Exactly. So the thing is that's just the way it works. It doesn't matter if you're white or whatever. That's the way it works. Now, we know that we need to establish what's going on here. Now, whether or not you and I agree with it. Now, I went to school for it, and I do not agree with everything. That's why I decided not to be a cop, because I don't agree with a lot of it. So yeah.
I don't hate police. I want to make that clear.
I'm
just saying, I just think they need a lot more training. Like the fact that a drunk guy,
I agree.
Like you said, you don't agree with their protocols. No, a lot of their protocols are really dumb. And the fact
a lot of them are very,
and the fact that they believe that they're above the law, like it's not a myth or bro, you see them all the time.
Right.
They'll pull you over for looking at your phone, but they're looking at a fucking computer their whole time while they're driving. Like what double world is this?
You went to police school, right? So like if you have somebody pulled over and you suspect them of being drunk, right? So the officer in the video which we both watched, he established that he smelled alcohol coming off of his breath. At that point, you have every right as the officer. You can completely end this entire argument because you can walk to your car, grab the breathalyzer, and come back and perform a breathalyzer test at that point. You're allowed at that point. So 4 seconds into that conversation, you could have had him breathalyzed, realized that he was over the limit. You have him on footage from the Wendy's driving in the parking lot, which means that you have him on DWI. At that point, you calmly, okay, sir, we're just going to need you to stand right here. One of your officers calls for backup. You have backup show up. This is if you want to talk about protocol, this is also standard protocol. Now you have backup show up. Now you have backup. Now it's one drunk guy doesn't take out 2 cops. Now the point that I have to prove about the cops that were involved in this situation, you know why you deserve to be fired? Not because a guy was killed. That's not the case. The guy in every situation was being dangerous, and a cop feared for his life. At the end of the day, he pulled the trigger. I'm not mad about that. Do you know why you should be fired? Because a drunk guy who was passed out literally 5 minutes before you showed up was able to take you down, take your fucking taser, and then shoot it at you twice. At the end of the fucking day, you were neglectful of your duty, because at the end of the day, if he did pull a gun and shot into the Wendy's and killed 3 guys, guess who that's on? That's on the 2 officers that were called there to protect and serve the public. That's on them. That was neglectful on their part because they have a duty. And you have a gun on your fucking hip. What if it was you're right. What if it was the gun he took? Now he's popping off inside the fucking Wendy's, and now the 2 cops look like dumbasses. Now you're involved for their murder.
Do you know
you're
what?
A dumbass. That's Marcus, why you deserve to get fired.
Do you know what happens when a weapon is taken from a police officer? Do you know what happens to that police officer?
They lose their gun and badge, do they not?
Yeah, they get fined. They go to court because now that is on illegal trade on the black market now. Okay, this is a police-issued weapon. This cop, now the thing is not only is he protecting the citizens, he's protecting kids who could get that weapon,
No, but him getting the weapon in the first place is the problem, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I just want to say about the smelling the breath. When Marcus was talking about smelling the breath, if a cop smells alcohol in your breath, it doesn't work like you pull out the breathalyzer. It doesn't work like that. I don't know where you're.
Because he was already
Marcus, it doesn't. Marcus,
I
but
looked
it doesn't.
up this law when I argued this with my friend. When the police were called there on a suspected DWI, immediately they're there investigating DWI. The moment alcohol is smelled, they are not to stand there and give him a fucking field sobriety test with him walking 13 steps back and forth. I'm sorry, it's not the case. I understand you went to police school, but I honestly looked at the law, and you can do this again too. I'm sure if you look it up, when they were called there, the moment they get there, they're there investigating suspected DWI. Once they performed that test and the guy got out of the car willingly, which they asked him to do, very professional in the police department. And I want to say something. They were there for 40 minutes, and you're right. They acted professional the entire time. You're absolutely right. They did all the protocols. There was no reason to stand there. They said multiple times, and he even admitted very early on in the video that he had a couple of drinks. At that point, in a traffic stop, if they would have pulled him over, they would be like, well, step out of the car, please. We're going to have to perform a breathalyzer. At that exact moment, that could have been a 12-minute altercation instead of a 50-minute altercation.
Well, let me ask you something.
What I'm trying to prove is call for backup.
Let me ask you something.
It's a waste of energy, and it's a waste of fucking time.
Well, let me just ask that. Do you think the reason why, this is a personal opinion, okay?
Right.
This is a personal opinion. Do you think the reason why the cops were taking their time was because they didn't want to screw up? Because that there was already this heat about white cops and black guys?
Yeah, I feel like they're all walking on fucking eggshells.
Let me fully, do you think that maybe they're being extra careful? Is that possible?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're right. But can I explain one thing?
It's not. No. Well, it's not about me being right. Because I don't know.
No.
I'm just saying.
No, I would agree. You're right. They would operate.
So let me ask you one more thing. So let me ask you one more thing then, because it's not. It's because I don't know neither. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just saying that is it that they were because they're gone now, that they were being so scrutinized, right? Because it was a black guy. If it was a white guy, this is just personal opinion. If it was a white guy, would they be in trouble?
No. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be publicized? Do you think it would be on the news?
If it was on video, I don't think it would be in rotation. No, I don't think it would be in rotation. Well, I think it would get one. I think it'd get a day of screen time, maybe a segment, maybe. You know what it would get? It would get a bottom of the screen scroll by while you're watching what new dresses dropped on the fucking fashion week.
So
it'll say at the bottom. White man murdered in Wendy's by police officers.
So now we're coming to the center of the maze here, where it's what is being narrative, what is controlling, what gets people angry, what gets the people angry. Is it the white cop shooting white guy? Or white guy shooting the black, the white cop shooting the black guy.
Democrat media, the Democrat.
I agree.
CNN.
Yes, I agree.
That rhetoric.
I agree with that. Fine.
Well,
I was just curious.
Right? That's one step in the 2031 agenda. Well, it was 2021, but they had to push it to 2030 agenda. Is to create distrust between people. They try to kill the modern family. Look at this whole "you don't need no man" bullshit. Single mother glorification. Single and 18 or 18 and pregnant and bullshit. This glorification of breaking the family, the traditional family with no strong father figures, and just the system is just crazy. So then that way it's easier to control people. You don't have something to look up to, and you're easily manipulated by the things you see on TV because those are better than whatever you have in your real life at this moment. And whatever they say, hey, fuck, man, they got it better than me. They must know. Let's fall into this narrative. Whatever they say, wear a mask. 2 weeks later, don't wear a mask. 3 weeks later, wear a mask. And you're like, yes, no. It's like Simon Says with the media.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. So what Simon Says. And just to be clear for anybody who's watching this or listening, is that when we say narrative, what we mean is what's being repeated over and over and over again. What do you boys think on because what do you guys think? Because Dr. Fauci with the coronavirus, Fauci was putting millions of dollars. What was it? I know that they had traced $250,000 directly to Wuhan. Right?
Yeah. Also, why are we only going with one doctor? Why do we not have a panel of doctors creating discourse between their beliefs? Why are we going with one person? This makes no sense. It's just like the presidency. Why is there one fucking president? There should be a panel of people with an odd number to break the yes and no's, to make the decisions. And definitely there will be unanimous and there will be things to fight about and talk about. Well, that's what it's for, to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I understand that everything goes through Congress, everything gets passed before it goes to the president, but also there shouldn't just be one ultimatum with a bias or an agenda. When you have 12 people, you almost can't have an agenda unless everybody's in on it. And everybody...
Yeah, I understand.
You know
and the thing is how, like what Marcus was just saying, can you trust them? You know, so how do you make sure that they're being properly
And that's
screened?
the hardest part, because they've showed us so much distrust that nobody knows where to turn. And anything that's slightly different that may be a reflection of your thoughts, you're gonna go to, because, you know, it's almost like, I don't want to say echo chamber, but I love alternative media. I love information coming in, like anything new, right? I want to challenge my own thoughts. I want to think of some way, and if I don't know information, I want to learn that fucking information, and I'm down to change my outlook due to new information coming in. There's people out there that refuse to take new factual information, and they think that they're somehow a weak person because they can't change their mind state or an outlook on something, or that it almost defines them as a person. You know, like you find out that let's just say Jeffrey Epstein, right? Like, let's say you're a business mogul. You didn't know about all this shit. And all this shit comes out about one of your friends who you're close with. And then all of a sudden, your whole perception and reality shatters, and you don't know how to pick it up. But there's people like us who can just easily take in new information, digest it, and weed out the bullshit.
Did you guys happen to see the... I want to say something that may sound a little bit controversial and maybe a little misogynist.
Assholes with opinions. What up?
Okay. So did any of you see the Filthy Rich documentary
Asians?
there?
Oh.
Filthy Rich.
No, not yet.
No.
Oh, wait. Okay. The Epstein documentary.
Yeah.
I got a little bit into it, but it's like all regurgitated information that I already know.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's kind of like review. Like it's not very... Okay, so I want to say, so Marcus, you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were now, I'm just wondering, when you were watching it, I don't know about you or any of you. When I was watching it, a couple of times I'm pausing it with my wife, and I'm like, you know what? If these, I don't know if I really feel sorry for some of these girls. Because
they were trying to make money moves, man. They were trying to make money moves, bro. These girls were trying to make money moves, bro.
I said this in cancel culture. Bro. I said, listen. I said, look, there's some of these girls
who accidentally wind up there, 100%. But then there's
other
motherfuckers that know
what they're doing. They're showing up.
They see their girl with a Fendi. They see their girl with a Fendi bag, and they're like, "Yo, how'd you get that?" There's like, "Yo, my boy Jeff. You just gotta do a few things." You know what I mean?
How many of them, so they get there. Oh, listen, you're just gonna. Well, what do I have to do? Well, you're just gonna massage an old guy. So if you're not gonna go home and tell your mom, "Hey, mom, I got a new job." Okay, so you snuck out of the house.
Yeah, you created this whole secret. You created this whole secret identity life bullshit. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, a lot of them, because a lot of them were like, "Oh yeah, well, I just didn't talk to the family about it." But I went on with my life. If you're not telling your parents,
so girls should be allowed to go out and do that shit without getting raped.
I know, but now it's the repercussion where they're coming out and flipping the script.
But Sab,
we're not. I'm not putting the blame on them. But what I'm saying is, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing, and then now that the time is right, they're saying, oh no, I didn't know it was happening. I was taken advantage of. Well, it's like, motherfuckers, you knew what you was getting into. You knew what you was getting into.
He deserves.
He was getting bags. You were walking home with bags.
Because you gotta remember, a lot of them, like Sab, a lot of them, that's true. They don't deserve to get raped. But were they really raped?
No.
Because they
no.
And they came back.
Yeah.
They kept going back.
The motherfuckers. This guy was literally fucking 12-year-olds, bro.
No,
I'm not talking about.
We're not talking about this.
Like, yo,
no,
whack,
we're not talking about those.
We're not talking about those.
That's the same dude, though.
We're talking about this. We're talking about the specific girls. We're talking about the specific girls on the documentary.
Yeah. Okay. So it's cool when they're 17, but when they're 12, it's whack. It's whack to all these girls.
No, it is. Sab, you're right.
That he was doing this
but
to all
we're talking specifically about the girls who were on the documentary that repeatedly went back willingly and now are using it to their advantage
because
to make a money move on this documentary.
Exactly. Because
we're not talking about the 12-year-olds getting fucked around. We're talking about these girls who knew the position they were playing, played it, and then played victim after.
Like, we're all against it.
We're all against the whole Epstein shit. But what we're saying is these girls are cashing in on a money move knowing damn well they knew what they were doing.
Much fucking money off
they already made it. They already made it. Now they're acting victim. Now they're acting victim, bro.
I think you can make conscious decisions.
It's like me and I murder somebody. It's like me murdering somebody.
It's a ridiculous notion that 17-year-old people are stupid.
You could be taking advantage of now,
I agree with that.
It's like me murdering somebody
just have
right now.
More power and more responsibility and shit.
If somebody came up to me when I was 17 years old and said, "Here's $1 million, you'll kill this person,"
and then you did it, and then later on you're like, "But he paid me, and I didn't know what I was doing."
Are you sure?
I would know better.
So Sab, just to kind of give you a little bit of the background, is that so these girls now, yes, we agree. 15, 16, 17 years old is not good. Okay. Oh. Now the question is, were they being raped? Now, not all of them were, because you got to remember, some of them were just for the sake of massaging while Epstein was naked. Okay. So he actually didn't touch them. Now, sometimes him and Ghislaine did, and they would act and whatever. But then guess what? Hey, when we're done, over there on the table is $250, $300. Go ahead and take it. If you want, you can come back. Well, they came back. And not only did they come back, Sab, they brought friends. Because they got an additional
I watched part of the documentary too.
Exactly.
Bro.
So we're not talking.
That was literally his strategy of fucking, like, the way I saw that, like, that was his strategy of being like, okay,
it's the
way that I won't, like, get caught and shit. Like, you guys are literally, like, doing exactly what he fucking wanted. He's like, okay, so if I, like, oh, man, it's, like, so unbelievable. You guys are like, oh, fuck Epstein, fuck all these pedophiles and shit. And then you're here, like, almost, like, defending them right now. It's kind of fucked up, like, blaming the victims and shit.
We're not
especially you, bro. You're like, fuck Epstein this whole time.
I'm not defending Epstein in any sort of way. Bro, I'm not. You're fucking the whole thing up that we're saying here. Nobody's defending Epstein. We're just saying the girls who willingly went in there and now are playing victim should not do that.
Yeah.
But you are victim. They are still victims, bro, to be put in that situation. Like, you don't know what that's like, man.
Bro, but you also don't know that Epstein's the only person that they do that for. Maybe they do that shit.
Sab, let me
say one thing. Yeah, and that sucks.
And that's their life. And just like you said, they should choose. Sucks, you literally just said, let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. So they're doing it willingly, and then when they get caught, they're playing victim.
Can I ask you something?
So that it's not on them. Like I just said.
But they are victim. They're not playing victim,
people
too.
The people
aren't they victims?
It's not playing
victims.
If you're literally under 17, even if you're a hooker, getting money, still, like, fucking as a kid, it's still fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, even if they were boys, but like, okay, whatever. If you're like 17,
talking about these motherfucking we're literally talking about the specific people on the documentary.
Yeah, because
I know. That's
the 12-year-olds, not all these other people.
Talking about.
We are talking about Dylan. We are talking about the girls on the documentary.
Yeah,
right. Now, hang on. But we're not talking about the girls that committed suicide after. Okay? Hundreds if not thousands of them, committed suicide. They don't have a chance to say what happened. They didn't have a chance to come out and say that this is what's going on. Okay? So these are voices not being heard.
Yeah,
We're hearing the voices. We're hearing the voices of people who continuously went back over and over again. Not only that, we are hearing the voices of the girls who recruited others and got paid for it. Those girls who were recruited ended up committing suicide. So why are we being forced?
There's so many women, dude. Like, it's not like...
Exactly. There's a lot.
That's exactly why we're saying...
Just like, you were saying, just because they didn't kill themselves, they're somehow assholes, and they recruited other girls.
Absolutely. I think they're dirtbags.
Because they didn't kill themselves?
Recruiting the girls, knowing that it's wrong. There was one girl, listen to this. In the documentary, there was one girl who recruited her sister. So you're telling me
that was the first episode. The chick was like, she knew what had happened to her and then sent her sister.
That's yes.
Like knowing,
so we're
just knowing.
Sorry. Who do we feel sorry for? The girl or the
They're
sister?
young. They make stupid decisions. They're like, they get wrapped up into this whole fucking weird life of a billionaire, bro. Imagine even knowing a billionaire, dude. And like being part of that fucking life.
They're just as bad as them.
It's fucked. And it's like you're young and you're stupid. Like you can't like throw like this guy's old. He has a fully developed brain.
We're not saying anybody in this whole equation is a good person. Nobody in this whole equation is a good person.
I agree. I think that
other than the underage people who are getting trafficked and forced against their fucking will, recruited unbeknownst, the people doing the recruiting, the girls who did this to their family, the people who went back repeatedly to make money, because this is just Epstein. We're not talking about all the other people who he works for and who they could have interactions with. They want to live the billionaire lifestyle, and then when they get caught, they flip switch. It's just like being a rat. It's just like the same shit.
If it was
it like, just for your sake of being victim and protected.
There's so many poor people like doing fucked up shit all the time, though. Why even call more shit out?
Because if it would go to court,
it's not going to fix anything.
And they played the angle that, like, for example, those girls were recruiting other girls that killed themselves. Now they're part of, like, the recruitment ring. Remember, regardless of what age you're at, if you're bringing new people in to be trafficked, then you yourself are just as much part of it. Regardless of what age you're at, the moment you make that decision, like Sab, at 17 years old, if someone came to you and they're like, yo, that girl that you know, that, like, hear me out, Sab, I'm asking you a question right now, like a question for moral. At 17 years old, someone comes out to you and they're like, yo, one of your friends is super hot. I'm a billionaire, so I'm going to pay you $100,000 to lure her here. Are you going to do it?
Fuck yeah, probably, dude. To be honest.
And that's fucked. Like,
right now I would do it.
But Marcus,
This man needs $100,000. Somebody give it to him so he doesn't have to do this crazy shit for billionaires.
I would do it for free if my fucking homie was like, that was rich, was like, yo, you need some women or whatever. Like, I'd get some women.
And you're mad at us for saying
not 17-year-olds. I get like 18-year-olds. Well, I would get, like, nowadays I get women my own age. But if I was 17 at the time, I would just get my 17-year-old friends because I think it was no big deal. You know what I mean? At the time when you're in high school, it's like you don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
You're good. Yeah, okay.
Like, if I'm in high school, I'm 17, I'm going to get my 17-year-old friends, and I don't give a fuck. Like, to me, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like we're all going to go party on this fucking private island that's fucking dope as fuck. Like, that would seem so fucking cool. I would be, yo, this guy has just made my fucking life awesome. I know a billionaire now, and he wants to get my friends to come hang out, dude.
But there is one catch.
You're looking at, no, hold on. No.
And we all get to suck his dick. This is awesome.
No.
There is
unbeknownst to what Marcus just said, though, he didn't add any of that. All Marcus said was, yo, you got some good-looking friends. You guys should come party with me. Here's $100,000. As a 17-year-old kid, you don't know about this world. You know it now. You're asking him as a question that we know.
Like hypothetical.
This is a hypothetical. If you're 17-year-old and you're getting your girl 17-year-old, yo, I got $100,000. You're bringing your friends to that motherfucking island and we're partying. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but
in hindsight, it's all like, oh yeah.
In hindsight, you shouldn't. But at the time, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Even if it's a party or whatever, like I get what you're saying. But let's say it's a party. If you've gone there and you've got to suck this guy's dick to get $300 or $1,000 or whatever, and it kind of gets weird. Like, you're telling me that you can't feel uncomfortable about that situation, and then at that point he's like, "Yo, you've got some good-looking friends," and then all of a sudden it's a 40-year-old dude, and then you suck his dick, and then he makes you suck buddy's dick.
There was no pre-mention of dick sucking before their interaction of asking my friends to come party.
All I'm saying is at 17 years old, if you're accepting $100 million. Then, if anything, you're helping the point that they're just shitty people, Sab. So then you're right. That's a shitty move to make.
I do.
If you can morally make that decision at that age to say, yeah, I'm going to drag my friends into this situation as well, then how is that morally okay? How could you think that that's okay then on that hand, and then on the other hand, you're like, oh, it's not okay.
Because at that age, you think you're grown up, man. You literally – I thought when I was 13, bro, I thought I was an adult. I thought I was the shit, dude. And I would have, like, if I had the chance – exactly, that's my point. At 17, I thought I was even more of an adult. So that's, like, my whole point right there. Is like, at 13, if I had the opportunity, I would have done fucked up shit. If some billionaire fucking guy came up to me and was like, here, I'll give you money, do fucked up shit, you're my little money slave now, I'd be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, fucking
at 13 years old, a guy comes up to you, offers you $1 million to stick his dick in your ass, you're doing
I probably wouldn't do that, but, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, different situations. Like, if he's like, hey, can you get some girls? I want to have, like, a party or whatever. I want to, like, invite you guys all to my island or whatever. I don't know what I would have done. Like, probably.
I think that first off, we're saying,
and you know nothing about the evils of the world.
We're saying whether or not they think at 17 years old they're adults.
Did know. They did know what was going on.
They didn't, man. They didn't really know for sure.
Well, hang on.
You don't know
whether or not they think at 17, whether or not at 17 they think they're adults or not is not the problem. And you know what's interesting is that they're not getting paid $100 million. They're not getting paid 1,000.
Yeah,
they're not getting paid 500.
No.
They're getting paid 250.
Yeah.
Okay. Now they were paid 300 for every girl they recruited. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you guys are saying numbers that wasn't even there.
Way too high. Okay? Way too high.
Way too high. But you got to remember something. Yeah. If I was in a slum, I would probably do the same thing. Yeah, I would, exactly. If I needed money and I had none, to be honest, I'd probably do the same thing. I think a lot of us would. But that doesn't mean, now listen, that does not mean that I don't know what I'm doing is wrong.
Yeah, I'm not justifying that. That's my point. It's like, I'm not justifying what these girls did. I'm not saying it's okay. But, like, they are still victims. My point is they are still victims, bro. Like,
absolutely.
The people with power have most okay, if there's like a percentage, maybe they take like 3 to 5% of the responsibility, and like Epstein takes like fucking 90 to 95%. And then there's probably some other
I understand your
middle factors or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking, when you have that much money and that much power, you can just do whatever the fuck you want. And people go crazy with it sometimes. And, like, you know what I mean? If you get money, you just have to hold on to your morals, I guess. And
I think as the
try not to get too bored. Morals. Well, yeah, and try not to get bored. Maybe play a lot of golf. I don't know what you do.
You know,
like,
because
I was making the joke to Sab outside. I was like, at what dollar do you have to fuck a kid at? Like, you
because
know, like
you
get to a certain dollar and they just approach you and they're just like, all right, you made too much money. You're in the club now.
What's interesting is that it's not. We could actually now to say, well, we can't really know because we're not at that level that they were at. That's not true, because when you watch porn, okay, these girls are getting paid not a lot.
I know.
They're not getting paid. Yeah. The reason why we see
Sab did a podcast with this dude who's like all in the porn industry.
The reason why
it's sad, yeah.
they're
all
not
those
getting
dudes
paid.
coming on your face.
They're not getting paid. Now,
Jesus.
the more, I'll say, raunchy, the more you get paid. But down goes your morals. Down goes your morals. Up the dollar, down the moral.
No, usually the raunchier it is, the less they get paid. The raunchiest shit is free.
You know.
What else? That'll show up.
What else was on the, but I like
free,
because there is not a lot of people that I'm happy that we got to talk about at least the Epstein, because not a lot of people are willing to talk about that. And not
man, we talked on fucking all this shit no one wants to touch.
Yeah. What else was on the agenda here? No pun intended.
I don't know. We had Gates. We touched on him a little bit there. But that's There was no. I think you know what? I think we've been going for just over 2 hours.
Yeah, this is
so. We'll definitely, Kyle. We're definitely gonna have you back because
I would really like
conversation.
to.
This is what we're for, right? We got 4 assholes sitting here with a bunch of varying opinions, and we hit this discourse up, and we have conversations that people won't have, and we're gonna say some shit that people are afraid to say, and there's gonna be people who relate to it that are like, fuck. There's people who feel this way on the inside that don't talk as freely as we do. Like me and Marcus, this is our conversations daily. Me and Sab, we talk about some wild shit. You know what I mean? And like that's why we did this. And I know there's like-minded people. Like I got my friend Amy who's coming on, and we're gonna do a whole Trudeau segment. Like I'm stoked on that one. And so like you know what I mean. Like we'll tackle whatever. I want to talk. I want to talk with people. I want to get information, and I want fucking motherfucker. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah, you know what? Next time, I think talking about Q and whatever. Like
Q?
QAnon, man.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He's someone who's been dropping some huge truth bombs on Twitter with like it's very cryptic. It's very cryptic. You got to break it down, but a lot of his shit has come to light, and he's built on a mass and a following. Yeah, but we'll definitely touch on Q next time because I definitely want to dive into him. I'm not the hugest understanding of it because it's just so much, right? So I just try to break it down as I get it, but there's just so much. But it'll be cool to go down that rabbit hole with you because I know you're huge on that.
Like hearing everybody, I have to Dylan. I think me and you are probably pretty. I see a lot of you eye to eye with you, Sab. Hearing you as you kept talking, I was understanding more. You know what I mean? As you kept going, I'm like, I can understand this now. You know what I'm saying? Right. Which is why I like talking to groups of people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Marcus there, I'll tell you, that was one of the best, especially in the BLM. That was probably one of the best conversations I've had in a long time. Marcus there. No, because it is the truth. Because, even though I'm not afraid to get heated and I love sitting with somebody who's not afraid also, and who is able to talk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's not there. That's a rare thing. And I think that's something that you should be proud of.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. That's what we're here for, my dude.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So that's it. Assholes with opinions. I'm your fucking navigator. Big Dubbz. Sab Powers only watches YouTube. Marks 8, the main host, and our guest of honor today, Kyle Marinucci. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Fantastic meeting you both. Marcus, again, thank you. Sab, thank you. Dylan, thanks a lot for having me. It was a pleasure. I'll be here in a heartbeat next time.
Yeah,
and as my parting message, Marcus, if you want to look this up, where we go one, we go all.
There you go,
brother. All right, see ya.